You have held one in your hand and felt it give, not like an apple, not like a grape. A strawberry yields the moment you touch it wrong. Bright red, glossy, stacked in clear plastic boxes. Soft enough to feel expensive, familiar enough to feel natural. But here is something that might surprise you. No machine on earth can pick a ripe strawberry without destroying it. It cannot be shaken from a tree. It cannot be scooped or cut like wheat. Every ripe berry has to be judged, lifted, and placed by a human hand because one bad squeeze starts the clock on its collapse. This is how strawberries are actually made and why the strawberry still begins with someone kneeling in a field. The strawberry you buy today did not come from a wild plant. Wild strawberries are tiny, about the size of a fingernail, intensely aromatic, impossibly soft, and almost useless for transport. For centuries, that was the only strawberry anyone knew. Then something else happened. In the 1700s, a French spy brought back a large Chilean berry and planted it near a smaller species from Virginia. The two crossed naturally. The result was a fruit that had never existed before. Bigger, redder, and just firm enough to survive a short trip to market. That accidental hybrid became the ancestor of every commercial strawberry on Earth. But what makes the modern version strange is its genetics. Humans carry 2 sets of chromosomes. Most fruits carry 2 or 4. The modern strawberry carries 8. That makes it an octoploid, one of the most genetically complex fruits in the produce aisle. 8 sets means breeders can chase size, sweetness, color, firmness, disease resistance, and shelf life simultaneously. And the most successful varieties are not public seeds. They are proprietary creations, bred, tested, licensed, and protected like formulas. A new variety can take years to develop. Once it succeeds, it becomes intellectual property. The fruit you think grows naturally in a field was designed in a greenhouse. Here is the thing nobody tells you. A strawberry field does not look the way most people imagine. In California, where roughly 75% of American strawberries are grown, the plants sit on raised beds covered in plastic mulch. The plastic controls weeds, holds moisture, keeps the fruit off the soil, and warms the root zone. Below the surface, drip irrigation lines feed water and nutrients directly to the roots. The plants flower, set fruit, and begin ripening, but not all at once. On the same row, one berry may be deep red and ready. The one next to it still has a white shoulder. A third is already too soft. A fourth has a small bruise no bigger than a thumbprint. That is why harvesting strawberries is not labor, it is judgment. A machine can cut wheat because an entire field ripens together. A machine can shake almonds because the shell absorbs the impact. A machine can dig potatoes because a bruise on a potato does not kill its shelf life in 48 hours. But a strawberry has no armor. The picker has to see the color, check the shape, lift the stem without twisting, and avoid pressing the flesh. One finger too tight and the cell walls break. Once the cell walls break, juice leaks. Once juice leaks, mold follows. In many operations, the berry is placed directly into the retail clamshell right there in the field. That clear plastic box you see in the store is often the same box the picker filled by hand, row by row, in the sun. Then the race begins. A strawberry does not stop living when it leaves the plant. It keeps respiring, pulling in oxygen, releasing carbon dioxide, burning through its own sugars, losing moisture. Field heat accelerates every one of those reactions. At room temperature, a strawberry can lose a full day of shelf life in just a few hours. So the fruit must reach forced air cooling as fast as possible. In well-run operations, the target is within 60 minutes of harvest. Pallets of packed berries are moved into cooling tunnels where cold air, around 0 degrees Celsius, is pulled through the gaps between clamshells, around the fruit, across every exposed surface. The goal is not to freeze the strawberry. The goal is to slow it down. Drop the core temperature fast enough and respiration slows. Sugar consumption slows. Moisture loss slows. Mold germination slows. A strawberry is not kept fresh by making it stronger. It is kept fresh by slowing its collapse. Compare that to an apple. Thick skin, controlled atmosphere storage for up to 10 months. A Honeycrisp you buy in March may have been picked the previous September. An orange has a rind. Bananas ship green across oceans and get ripened on arrival with ethylene gas. Avocados sit in cold storage until the market is ready. Now look at the strawberry. No thick skin, no rind, no ripening after harvest, no tolerance for rough handling, no long-term storage. And yet Americans consume roughly 3.5 billion pounds of fresh strawberries per year. That number only works because the entire chain, field, cooler, truck, warehouse, shelf, treats the strawberry like a patient on life support. Most fruits are built to survive the journey. The strawberry survives because the journey was rebuilt around it. Here is where the story flips. That clear plastic clamshell is not just a container. It is the last piece of the preservation system. The vents on the box control airflow. In some systems, the packaging helps create a modified atmosphere with slightly less oxygen, slightly more carbon dioxide. That shift slows the berry's breathing. Slower breathing means slower decay. A few more days of looking red and firm. The box does not make the strawberry permanent. It only buys time. And that time is fragile. Trap too much moisture and mold starts. Break the cold chain and respiration surges. Bruise one berry in the corner and its leaking juice feeds the decay of every berry touching it. The strawberry box is not just packaging. It is a tiny life support system. Next time you stand in the produce section, try this. Look at the bottom of the clamshell. If juice is pooling underneath, some berries have already broken down. That box was handled rough or held warm somewhere in the chain. Check for condensation inside the lid. A little is normal. A lot means temperature fluctuated, and fluctuation is how mold wins. Smell the box. A fresh strawberry smells faintly sweet and slightly green. If it smells sharp or fermented, the fruit is past its window. And if one berry has visible mold, the spores have already reached the berries touching it. They just have not shown it yet. One thing worth knowing. Modern strawberries were bred for firmness, size, and the ability to survive 3,000 miles of cold chain. In that process, some of the volatile compounds behind complex strawberry aroma were reduced. The fruit was optimized for survival, not for standing still. That is not a failure. It is a trade-off, one that made fresh strawberries available year-round across a continent. A strawberry looks simple. Everything behind it is not. You hold one in your hand, and it gives. That softness is not a flaw. It is the reason an entire industry exists, to keep something that fragile looking effortless. That is the process. We reveal how things actually work, one story at a time. If there is something you would like us to explore next, let us know. Until then, trust the process.